I've been thinking also about the unintended consequences of speeches and words. It has been my usual pleasure to speak either, well, this part isn't a pleasure, but anyway, to speak either to people who I know completely disagree with me and hate everything I stand for. And you know they're still not going to like you when you're done, but you can frame your approach accordingly. To speak to a broader public, where you also try to frame your approach to help as many people as possible understand what it is you're getting at, or to speak to the family and say whatever you really feel and know that people are going to identify. Now what's happened since the announcement of my position is that all of a sudden, things I said to the family have become big news in the blogosphere, in the international church presses, and in the Boston, at least secular press. I don't know about further afield. And there are three things in particular that they wanted to talk about. So I'd like to talk about those things too, because having said what I just said about integrity, I stand by them. And I have said them to the family, but I mean them, and I produce those things. One, I said a few years ago in Birmingham, Alabama, that the conclusion of that successful clinic defense of abortion is a blessing. Two, I've said time and time again that abortion providers are saints. And more recently, and sadly, the Dr. George Chiller was both a saint and now a martyr.
Right.
And finally, I've been quoted, accurately, oddly enough, as saying that the lesbian and feminist communities have given me far more grief for being a Christian than the Christian community has ever given me for being a lesbian feminist. So let's take a minute, and some of you are in this room. Let's take it in order. I said in Birmingham that we do ourselves self-destructive wrong when we talk about abortion as a tragedy. I said that when a woman gets pregnant against her will and wants an abortion, it's the violence that's the tragedy, not the abortion. When a woman,
That's right. That's right.
Now, a woman might want to bear and raise a child, but finds she can't do it because she doesn't have access to health care, or daycare, or enough income to provide a home for that child. It's the lack of justice that's the tragedy, not the abortion. When a woman plans for a pregnancy, desperately wants it, has decorated the nursery and named the baby, and then in the last few weeks of that pregnancy discovers that that child cannot live, that the fetus is never going to be her baby, that there are anomalies incompatible with life, and discovers that abortion is necessary to preserve her own life and health, or to end the suffering of this child that is not to be. It's the loss of the hopes and dreams that is the tragedy, not the abortion. And here's how it keeps getting me in trouble. That when a woman simply gets pregnant unintentionally and decides that this is not a good time for that, there is no tragedy. Enjoy healthy sexuality without the fear that an unplanned pregnancy could derail her education or her career. That is to say, derail the development and exercise of the gifts God has given her is a blessing. Just in case any of the other folks get hold of this, let me be clear. Motherhood also is a gift and a blessing, but not for everyone, and not always right now. Why is that so hard to see? How can anyone not understand that unless women control our reproductive lives, we can't control our economic lives either? Or stewards of the gifts God has given us unless we can decide when and if to have children. I have been stunned since all of this broke loose to hear self-described feminists say, oh, abortion is always a morally complex tragedy, but it's sometimes a necessary evil, and so must remain legal. Is it any surprise that people are becoming less and less willing to call themselves pro-choice when even feminists are lamenting a necessary evil rather than celebrating a means to our own liberation and empowerment? How did this happen? Sisters, I have to tell you, I think we did it to ourselves. In our quite understandable and commendable desire to build broad alliances that enable us to win the votes that we need to keep abortion safe, legal, and accessible, which is vitally important, it saves lives. In our effort to do that, we have tried the conciliatory approach of, listen, we'll agree that abortion is a tragedy. And even if you'll agree that it's sometimes the lesser of two evils and help us keep it legal. And in the short term, it's been a good strategy. It has, in fact, helped us win electoral and legislative battles that have been very important. But I fear that this short-term strategy in the long term is going to do us in.
Yeah.
The only way abortion is a tragedy or an evil is if a fertilized egg is made. The Roman Catholic Church teaches that, and they are entitled to do so, but science doesn't. Most theologies don't. Common sense doesn't. And yet every time we call abortion a tragedy, we reiterate the position that a zygote is a human being of equal moral value with a woman. We create the anti-abortion climate, and I fear it will come back and bite us before much longer.
It already has.
It already has.